and Dennis taught school together. They were in the same department, math, and they taught the same way. They're very good friends. They've gone fishing together. They've gone camping together. They well, have a goosey now and then together. But he got promoted to where he's now superintendent. So as superintendent, what happens is he no longer has a relationship that is equal. He now is in a position of power that is a matter of concern for everybody. So as a result of that, he's not aware that Dennis knows he's a superintendent. And Dennis feels weird. That even in the coffee breaks like that, he feels a little bit different. They just get together and talk. And of course, what you, Paul, you want to come to talk to Keith about Dennis, who is in your building, who you do not think is performing the way you want to. And your question is, am I talking to Keith, who is a friend of Dennis, or am I talking to the superintendent who is responsible for the school district? And so when he talks to Keith, he's not managing 2 relationships, he's managing 12. Because you don't know, he doesn't know if he can tell him the truth about Dennis. And you don't know that he's sort of making it smaller. He's trying to make it appear that he's not insulting your friend. He doesn't know how to solve it. And so Keith, who is now a superintendent, has an issue because it's like, what do I do with him? What do I do with my friend? So here's the deal. It's called a mafia decision. It's about family. It's not about profession. It's about family. What Keith says is, look, we're talking about my friend, but this is an issue that has to do with the organization. So I want you to talk to me honestly. And he said, I will talk to my friend and let him know. I'm sorry. I'll talk with my friend. So we're connected here. We're not connected here. That's what it is. So we're not connected here. You're connected this way. That's the triangle that you have. It's organizational. And when you talk to your friend, you tell them, we're not working in this line, we're working in this line. So what you do then is you say, Dennis, this is not about family. This is about the organization. So we have to talk, you and I, and Paul have to get together and talk. But I have to talk from this position, not from this position. Okay? So what you do is you make clear what it's about, and it's simple to do that. I've had many principals who came to me and said, how do I deal with this issue? This guy's my friend. Bill's my friend, and I just use the mafia concept. It's not about family. It's about the organization. It's business. It's not about family. So, thank you. That will help you see it. I'll do this one more time. Kelly happens to be a teacher in Liz's building. And Kelly also happens to be the president of the Teachers Association in the district. Kelly? How about that? I got Kelly and Kelly. And Tammy had problems, I think, with this when she was in the union. So when Liz talks to this Kelly, she doesn't know whether she's talking to her as president of the association or as a teacher. And when she sees Kelly in the hallway, she sees this and not this. I can't tell you how many places I've been where that's been a major issue. Misreading the fact that somebody has 2 roles. It's very simple. You just say, are we talking today, Kelly, as teacher or as you being president of the association? And you just say, we're talking to me as a teacher. All I've got to do with it. You just have to have that conversation when you have those 2 roles. It's not difficult. But if you say, no, it's in this direction, then she has to be able to say, I think I need to bring someone else into the conversation. So she brings Keith, who's the attorney, and I can show the string to go with that. But what you do is set up a different triangle with this one here. And So she wants to be sure that the power is balanced by having someone in the room that can tell her what is the right thing to do. Okay? In every case, there's two relationships. There's not just one string that I'm putting out here. There's two strings. Okay? So that's the way you deal with that. This no longer fits when you're in that room. Now you're talking about the association of the union. Okay? Thank you. A conflict's purpose is to create relationships. And to create relationships that move you from survival to safety and security, to community, to status, to self-esteem, to self-actualization, which is being the best school around, and then being able to move it to the broader world so that you create students that are global citizens. So a conflict is in a way a strategy or a tool to make this purpose here happen. If you understand that, then you can manage your conflicts because you know the outcome you want. But if you have a conflict with me, Tammy, you can sit down and say, one of my worst outcomes is talking to Bob about this. What will be the best possible outcomes of he and I talking about this? What is one thing that I can do to make that happen? It's just that simple. And when you do that, you'll find your whole perception about me and you will change. And quite frequently, you won't have to do anything. The next morning you see me and you feel different. You'll just walk up and say, you know, I was pissed off at you yesterday, Bob, about that cracker record, but you know what? Doesn't matter, I just love you. That's it. Diane will tell you, we worked with a school that for 13 years was split. They were brought together in a new school. All of these people knew each other, loved each other. They sent a group of people away to learn a different way of teaching one of the courses. When they came back, they tried to introduce it, got into conflict, the school split, they began to split again. It was horrible. Parents were taking their kids out of the school. It was a terrible place to be. The last day, I'll just never forget, the closure, when a teacher stood in the closure, we were standing, I said, just talk about how you feel about what happened. She said, I got my friend back today. After 13 years, I have my friend back. Now, here's the news. Today, that school is still powerful. They're one of the two schools in the district that meet AYP every year. Think of that. They're one of the two schools that do it. And the reason is because they function together just the way you described here. So purpose is what you want to make happen. When you create purpose like this, don't ask for it again. You just did it. Decide, is that what you want or not? And I think you'll say, yeah, this is what I want. So I'm going to help you understand something about conflict, and we'll probably take a break for lunch. And I'm going to help this person be my helper here. So I'm going to have Kathy and Tom help me with this. This is going to be a surprise.
What to do? Hand him strings when he needs them.
I'm going to really try to show you why we need to resolve conflict. Okay? If you don't know from all of this,
Do you mind? Come on. I'm gonna. I do think
so this is Kathy. Kathy has a relationship with Tom. Now, this can't get out of this room. And Tom has a relationship with Kathy, and these represent that relationship string of bond that they have. Kathy says, oh, I just love being with Tom. You know, we've been together ever since grade school. I mean, he tells me everything. I know everything about him.
And I fix it.
And when we go out, you know, on picnics, he tells me his deepest, darkest secrets. I go to football games with him. I mean, I actually know who the quarterback is. And then we go out on Monday nights and we have a brew. You know, we drink a brew together, and I play pool sometimes. I beat the guys once. He was so proud of me. I just know someday he's going to ask me to marry him. That is her perception.
You're all right.
Tom says to his friends, Kathy, I'll tell you what, we've been together ever since we were kids. I mean, we've done everything together. Clear out here at the high school, we're going to graduate together. I mean, I just absolutely love being with this woman. I mean, she knows all about football. We go to football games together. We watch them together. We go out to the bar on Monday nights, watch the games, drink a brew, and then, she plays pool with the guys. She actually beat him once. I hope when I get married that I can keep her as a friend. That is his perception. Okay. Now, you all know, because you've been in relationships, you all know that the other person surprises you with their perception of what their relationship is with you. Very rarely do you talk about it. You just sort of make it work, and then you sort of think, oh, well, he didn't do quite what I wanted him to do, but he's still the same good guy. I still love him, Well, as it turns out, Kathy is right. In a fit of Super Bowl passion, when his their team won, he said to her, I would love to be the quarterback of your life for the rest of our time. I'd like to continue to make passes to you. And she agreed to that. She said, man, that's exactly what I want. Okay. Well, what happens when you have two people get married? They have little babies, don't they? Come here. John.
Big baby.
John has a relationship with his dad. He has a relationship with his mother. His father has a relationship with him. His mother has one. Now pay attention to how many strings there are. I want you to connect them. Make sure that everybody has two strings. So how many strings are there to managing with the addition of one person? 6. So I added one person and tripled the amount of energy it takes to manage that system. Do you all remember when you had your first child? Yes. Yeah? It's like, honey, it's time, isn't it? Wink, wink. And she says, I gotta feed the baby. Right? And he says, oh man, I can't wait for John to grow up. He's going to be a football player. I'll tell you what, he's going to get out. First thing, he's going to start in kindergarten. John says, Dad, I want to play the piano. Two relationships. See? John's screaming and yelling in his little chair, and he wants his diapers changed. And his mom says, I'll take care of your diaper as soon as I clean up the mess on the floor from trying to feed you today. He has a perception that is different than her perception. That's the way it is. None of us truly know the totality of the bonds that we have because we don't talk about them. We're so busy. We don't say, what is this about? Well, in spite of John, they decide they're going to have the average American family with a little girl, and Kathy is born. Kathy has a relationship with her brother. She has one with her dad. She has one with her mom. And they have a relationship with her. And I want you to figure out how many strings are they going to manage as a result of just adding another child into the family. 12. So we added 2 people, and we have multiplied the amount of energy it takes to manage this family by 6. Okay? I had 7 children in my family. Ouch. If you watch them put the strings together, you'll notice how uncomfortable it is to do it. It's like you have to figure out who's going to go first and who's... That's the way it is. Kathy said, I just love my little brother. I just really love to be around him. He says, get away from me, you little brat. My friends don't want you around. You're making me feel embarrassed. Right? He has a relationship with her. She has a relationship with him. They're different. One other thing is that sometimes things have relationships with people. And so Tom works for the school district. And the school district has a relationship with him. He has one with them. He says, I'll always be here, part of the family. They will take care of me no matter what. They say, you know what, Tom, we don't have the money to keep your position this year, so you have to go on temporary status for a while. Because that's never talked about. There are automatic assumptions that being part of that organization, they will take care of you like it's a family. When in fact, it turns out they're an organization. And so that's something you never know. This is not a problem as long as he works 8 hours a day. I don't know of any educator that does that. But Tom ends up being in meetings in the evenings, and his wife says, you know, Tom, I mean, I really appreciate that you love your job and all that, but, you know, you're not here quite a few times now at the meal. And his daughter says, you know, Dad, you were supposed to be at cheerleading practice, and you never did show up. And so she has a relationship with the organization. You know, the organization says, well, we really don't consider you. And you say, hey, where's my dad? I want to have my dad show up. And John says, you know, you forced me into football, Dad, and yet you never show up for the practices, and I don't see you at the games. And so an organization or a concept becomes a conflict in the family. It becomes something that affects the family. And it's just as if you had a person. So we have 5 times 4 is 20 relationships. By adding one conflict, we move from 12 to 20 relationships. Percentage-wise, that's about what, 60% increase in energy that it takes to manage that family? Christmas time. I'll tell you what, Christmas time. Easy. You look like a fir tree.
Smells like one.
Christmas time. And the mother says, you know, I want to go see my mother's for Christmas. And you know, I really think that that's the place we ought to go. And so they're arguing about Christmas, which is supposed to be a fun time, but her relationship with it is different because they always get in an argument over when they're going to go or where they're going to go for Christmas. And so what happens is when she talks about that, okay, Stringbearer, thank you. When she talks about that, is she'll say, it's just the same as with work. You don't, boy, that doesn't look big enough for us. It's just the same as with work. You don't pay any attention to what our needs are. And so she now has a connection to the organization. She's connected this conflict with this conflict. It piggybacks. Sort of like, you know, you get mad at the boss, you go home and kick the dog. Dog didn't do anything wrong. You carried a conflict and sort of inserted it into your family. And the daughter says, oh, jeez. There they go again, Jerome. Another argument's over where we're going. Next thing they'll do is talk about what kind of tree they want, what kind of bulbs. They get into one of those stupid arguments, and John will say, I'm sick of it. I just am absolutely sick of it. I wish I could just do away with Christmas. And so what we have now is a family that has 6 times 5 or 30 relationships. How many of those are as a result of conflict? 18. Your energy is being used up by the fact that these conflicts don't get resolved. And so each succeeding conflict becomes more and more onerous. And so Tom says, oh, geez, I have it, man. I got to get down and have a brew. And so he starts showing up every Monday night. And his wife says, you know, John, you've been going and showing up, and you're coming home with the smell of alcohol in your breath, and it's not enough that you spent all that time at work. And his daughter says, Jesus, Dad, I hated it when you kissed me last night. It was terrible. And of course, Tom says, I can give up alcohol anytime I want. And the alcohol says, you want to bet? 2 different relationships with a thing, a concept of drinking. And so his son says, geez, Dad, you fell down the steps at the auditorium and went because you were drunk, and his daughter says, well, he took care of the daughter. Well, he said, it's just the same as with Christmas, it's just the same as with the organization. They're just going to ignore us kids. So now we have 7 times 6 of 42 relationships with these people in that. I go on. They decided he needed to change. He says, I need to get away because they're complaining about the fact that I'm falling asleep in the meetings and I can't remember what people told me. And his wife says, you're drinking too much. I think you're an alcoholic, Tom. I'm not an alcoholic. I think I need a change. I think I need to move to a new town, to a new district. And so here comes change. And he says, I think that we need to change. And John says it's a wonderful thing. I believe that I'll be able to clean up my act. And Change says, you want to bet? And his wife says, I'm not leaving this community. I have a job down at the church. I have friends. I have people who depend on me. And Tom, who is very sensitive, says, hey, look, when you go to that new place, all of your clothes will be brand new. Just think of it. We'll save money. So his daughter says, I'm not leaving my friends. And his son says, look, you tried to get me into football. You're going to put me in a school district that's got how many? 10,000, 20,000 kids? I won't even get near the football field. Well, same thing as with the organization. He's just going to do the same thing there. He's going to take all of his time. And I'm sorry, that should go to... It's over to you. It's the same thing, you know. It's just, you know, the alcoholism is at work, and it's the fact that he argues over Christmas, or they argue over Christmas, and feel like you're getting strung along here, guys. Yeah. And so what happens is you have this burden. These are conflicts that are unresolved, that are a burden on your soul. Now, here's the news. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take away 1 is 7. 8 times 7 is 56 relationships. You used to just manage 12. Pretty much like 400% increase in energy just to manage your conflicts. But the organization says, we're not going to send you there, Tom. We feel that you're too good. We don't want to lose you. What we are going to do is we're going to sit down with you and your wife. We're going to send you to treatment for alcoholism. You have a choice. You can either go outpatient or inpatient. And you have no choice. And the other choice is you can either do it or we're going to do a performance thing on it. So those are your choices. Tom says, I'll do the outpatient. And he actually goes to the outpatient. And over time, he and his wife are able to resolve the issues, let go of the spirits that he has. And as soon as he does that, you can go sit down, alcohol. All right. As soon as they do that, I'm sorry. Okay. You're now the Christian. You're alcohol. You are alcohol. Okay. Okay. So now it used to be 56. It's now 7 times 6 is 42. Solve one problem, and you will allow yourself to have like 20% increase in energy to invest in the family. Solve one problem in the building. Think of all the people in the building you solve that everybody's connected to, and you will have a major increase of energy in the building. And so for Kelly to say what you did, where's Kelly? For you to say what you did, Kelly, will release energy into this building like you won't believe, because people will say, it's over. We're going to turn this around. We're going to make something happen. So I honor you for that. That's how easy it is. So that's energy release. And the organization says you are only going to work 8 to 5. And that's it. You have to get your family straightened out. So all of a sudden now you've got 6 times 8 is 48. No, yeah, 6 times 5 is 30 instead of 56. You've got something like an 80% increase in energy that you can send away from the, no, it's not, it's 40%, 60%, 50% increase. So whatever that percent is, all that energy can go into the family, every bit of it. And they said, we're not going to send you away to change, you're going to stay here until that takes care of that problem. The organization then helps you only have 5 times 4 is 20. So think of all that energy. Now here's the problem, the issue. You do not have to solve all problems. Solve one and use the energy. You can keep the Christmas tree argument. I mean, come on, what's wrong with that? Have an argument about stuff. I mean, you want to get rid of those arguments. I argue with this guy all the time. I keep some good arguments going, so you know. So you don't have to solve all of them in a guild. Solve one. Solve one, and then take that energy and put it in the kids. You begin to see the others automatically begin to move in their own. So I want to honor these folks. Okay, I want Chief out here, and Dennis, would you help me?